Hi, I'm Ryan Wright.
And I'm Jerry.
Welcome to ReasonsToSee.com,
where we give you reasons to see.
And not to see.
Whatever movie we're reviewing.
So let's hang out. It may not feel like a necessary reboot, but for what it is, it's still a fantastic film.
Ryan's consensus.
There are a lot of reasons to watch The Amazing Spider-Man.
There are a lot of reasons to watch The Amazing Spider-Man.
I am bloated.
Right?
Yeah.
Jerry's consensus.
There are a lot of reasons to watch The Amazing Spider-Man.
There are a lot of reasons to watch The Amazing Spider-Man.
He's back.
He's back.
He's back.
He's back.
Sort of back.
He's sort of back.
Yeah.
Reason to see number 1. A new Peter Parker.
It's like Rebel Without a Cause meets Spider-Man in a way.
All I really wanted out of this was something different. I just wanted a different type of Peter Parker, different Spider-Man story, and I feel like we got that. Peter Parker in this one, he's very intelligent. He's a loner, but he's not a nerd.
So in this one, like, Peter Parker, he seems more lost. He's more emotionally confused. When he becomes Spider-Man, it's a little unintentional. In the first one, it seems like he's doing justice. In this one, it's like he's taking out his shit on the bad guys. It's like he's gonna mess with them first, sort of like a therapeutic release.
Yeah.
The vigilante he's becoming at first is a criminal, but now he has to make the choice. Is he gonna be a criminal or is he gonna be a hero? If I had Spider-Man's powers, and I had some dickhead bully picking on me, I would totally use my powers like him.
Reason to see number 2. Franchise improvements.
I honestly was not expecting to love this movie this much. I was against this movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I was even more against it than
You were against this movie, yeah.
Which is rare. So, in the original, like, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, everything sort of happens by chance. It's like on a normal day, a spider came down, and in this one it seems like everything's kind of intertwined. Everything happens, he goes to the museum, because he wants to know more about his parents, and there he sees the spiders which his parents were working on. Like, it's all connected this time.
It's all linked. In this one, it really seems like Peter Parker gets himself into the situation. If they wanted to do Spider-Man Part 4, they would not have been able to continue the franchise by making it like this. If they wanted to make a film that was darker, more gritty, more realistic, it would have just been too much for an audience to handle for a Part 4.
That's how people do, reboots now. It's like, it's gonna be darker.
Yeah.
More serious. Nobody ever makes a reboot and be like, let's make it wacky and fun. Like, let's make it much lighter. Everyone's shaved,
The problem with a lot of comic book movies is there are too many storylines. Like Spider-Man 3, that one sucked the biggest, fattest balls, right? In this one, there's a lot of multiple storylines, yet they all seem to fit. They all seem to work just right.
Reason to see number 3. Andrew Garfield.
Kinda has a James Dean thing going on.
He's got a lot more wisecracks this time, sort of like the comics.
He's got a lot of sarcasm. In the first trilogy, there's like Spider-Man and there's Peter Parker. But in this one, whenever Spider-Man steps onto the screen, you can still feel Andrew Garfield's presence. You really feel like you're in Peter Parker's shoes. There's like an emotional transference happening where you're feeling what Andrew Garfield's feeling. And it feels great.
Reason to see number 4. Emma Stone.
And Gwen Stacy, man, Emma Stone is perfectly cast. She's different from Mary Jane.
Emma Stone's gonna be in high school for like the rest of her life.
Yeah.
She's gonna be 60 and still playing high school students.
Reason to see number 5. Romance.
There's a great romantic story going on here. The chemistry between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone is magical. Unlike how I felt to the first trilogy, I found the romance in this movie to be absolutely essential to the story. They don't spend forever in this one making a romantic build-up, because Raimi already took care of that. In this one, it's great to see Spider-Man in a relationship with someone who's not a superhero and still trying to lead a romantic life. I know they tried doing that with Spider-Man 3, but honestly, Mary Jane just came across like a whiny little bitch. Oh, and the way Peter Parker reveals how he's Spider-Man to Emma Stone, I would totally do that.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate, like, you're the man moment.
Yeah, it's like, who's the biggest cock right now?
Reason to see number 6. Dr. Connors, aka the Lizard.
It's a great villain because to him it makes sense what he's doing. It's like he's giving a gift to the world. There's a lot of purpose. Not to discredit Willem Dafoe's performance, but he was sort of like, you bitches. And then Spider-Man randomly gets involved. He's not as fun to watch as some of the other villains in the prior trilogy, but he's still a fantastic villain.
Reason to see number 7, the supporting cast.
I loved Martin Sheen's performance in this one.
Yeah, well, he really is. You can feel the father figure, you know, in his performance. In this one, it's like they know they're not his parents. They're trying to be his parents, but they're not, and there's that hole there that they can't necessarily fill, so that's a different dynamic for the family.
Even Aunt May is more interesting, has more motion going on. And I like how Aunt May might possibly know that he's Spider-Man.
Yeah, a little bit.
I gotta point out Captain Stacy in this film.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a highlight.
He comes in late, but he comes in just at the right time.
Yeah, totally.
And it's great to see him not just playing a douchebag, but, you know, a cop with some purpose.
Well, yeah, you actually understand, you know, why he's upset about Spider-Man in this movie.
Reason to see number 8, Marc Webb's direction.
Marc Webb!
I didn't think the guy could do it. Sure, there are some similarities to the prior trilogy, but those are things that you have to cover because it's part of Spider-Man's origin. It's like having a Batman movie without showing that his parents died. I love his choice to make it a lot more grounded, a lot more realistic. It feels like the real world.
You know, it's gritty, you know, you get the sense for New York.
It's fun in a lot of ways, but it's not cartoonish.
No, it's not too, like, cartoony.
Reason to see number 9, the writing.
The writing in this movie is really tight because everything ties into Peter Parker somehow. Like, every story event is directly related to him.
You can feel that things are really not going well for the guy. One of the things I thought they executed very well was the law enforcement.
Well, yeah, because that's the one thing no one ever thinks about in these superhero movies is like, oh, like, the police actually do things aside from just arrest people. Like, they actually have strategy, and like, if you mess up their strategy, then they can't catch criminals and it messes up their operation. So they explain that really well. It's a cool thing to touch on.
And I like how they're not just crooked cops again.
Yeah, right? There's actually a little bit of honor to being on the police force's side.
He's having to balance high school life and being Peter Parker.
Yeah.
The Peter Parker drama is actually very interesting, which magnifies it when he becomes Spider-Man.
I can completely identify with Peter Parker, even though sometimes he does those things the teenagers do that make them frustrating and somewhat unlikable. You get him.
Yeah, it makes him more understanding. I'm not watching it for an hour going, I want to get to Spider-Man, hurry up. Every single character in this film has a character arc. It doesn't seem like some forced bullshit character growth going on. Even though it's dark, it's still pretty funny. In the first one, when he fucks with Flash, he's kind of doing it all by accident. In this one, it's hilarious because I would absolutely do that, A, and B, it's intentional.
Reason to see number 10, action and visual effects.
When it comes to action and visual effects, this film delivers. Because you can feel Peter Parker underneath that suit when he's Spider-Man, and he fights those criminals, you kind of feel like you're fighting the criminals too. It's awesome.
The movie has great visual effects. I mean, there are a couple bum moments, but for the most part, I mean, it looks spectacular.
Watch it in 3D.
Reasons not to see.
So
The reasons not to see today aren't exactly reasons not to see so much as they're just not necessarily reasons to see.
Reason not to see number 1, the bullying.
The bullying with Flash is a little heightened. It's like, are there any adults at this school at all? It's a little hard to accept that in this day and age, bullying is that over the top.
And it's kind of hard to accept the bullying in this film for a film that's going for a lot more realism.
Yeah.
Reasons not to see number 2, obvious similarities.
The way how Norman Osborn becomes the Green Goblin is sort of similar to the way how he becomes the Lizard in this film.
Yeah, it's like, we can't give you money for testing any longer. Oh, I gotta test on me then, like, you know.
He talks to himself, he has a split personality. And some of the familiar plot points feel a little too rushed, but who really gives a shit? We already saw it.
Reason not to see number 3, too many mentors.
I'm pretty sure almost every character in this film is somehow a mentor to Peter Parker.
At least once. Even the guy at the convenience store who gets mugged. He's like, kid, you really oughta, you know.
It seems like everyone wants to be Peter Parker's dad.
Even the guy at the convenience store, he's like, son, let me come here and I'll buy you some milk.
Reason not to see number 4, Sony Productions.
If you're really looking for a reason not to like this movie, just bag on Sony.
Yeah, I mean, the behind the scenes stuff irks me a little bit, But, you know, for what you get in the runtime of the actual movie, which is what's important, you know.
I mean, Sony kind of sunk Spider-Man itself. I don't think we'll ever know the true story of what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's all tied up in the bullshit, so.
Reason not to see number 5. No Bruce Campbell cameo!
This very much upset me.
This episode of Real Reasons to See was paid for by the Ryan Wright and Sherrick Foundation for more Bruce Campbell cameos in every movie and television show ever made in association with Liberty and Loop 6 Row.